Meet Archmage Lorien. He's not at the royal court today to cast spells or defend the kingdom. No, he's here to whisper into the king's ear. He's got a scroll, a sack of gold, and a magical contract that says, "If you grant me this new law, sire, I'll make sure your treasury overflows." This, my friends, is political lobbying, where the real magic of power isn't cast in the open battlefield, but in the shadows of the throne room. In theory, lobbying is simple. Adventurers, guilds, and peasants all have issues, so they send wizards' representatives to tell the king what laws might help them. A noble system, right? The king gets advice from many voices, and the kingdom prospers. But in practice, it's less noble wizardly counsel and more a handful of wealthy mages paying for the king's attention, while the rest of us shout from outside the castle gates. Here's how it usually unfolds. A potion guild wants fewer safety rules so they can brew faster. A merchant guild wants tax breaks for their caravans. A dragon tamers guild wants funding for more dragon stables. So what do? They send in a silver-tongued wizard called a lobbyist. The lobbyist showers the king with research scrolls, persuasive speeches, and, let's be honest, bags of enchanted gold. And if the king listens, the guilds get their way. And if the king doesn't, well, let's just say donations to the royal treasury dry up faster than a mana pool in the desert. Lobbyists don't just use words, they wield coin, lots of it. Election campaigns, funded by guild gold. Banquets, sponsored by the potion brewers. Even magical festivals, guess who's paying? The very guilds asking for favors. So, while technically any villager could write a letter to the king, let's be honest, who do you think the king listens to? The peasant with parchment and ink? Or the archmage with 10,000 gold coins, 3 sponsored tournaments, and a crystal ball broadcasting his message? So why should ordinary wizards like us care? Because lobbying shapes everything in the kingdom. The price of healing potions, the taxes we pay on enchanted swords, even whether our children learn spellcraft in school, or shovel manure for dragon farmers. When lobbyists bend the king's ear, the laws that come out often favor the guilds with the deepest pockets, not the everyday villager scraping together copper coins. Now, not all lobbying is dark sorcery. Some wizards argue it's important for guilds to share knowledge, like healers advising on medicine laws, or druids warning about forest preservation. That's true, but when gold enters the mix, it's less about wisdom and more about who can afford the loudest voice. So next time you wonder why the king passes a strange law that benefits one guild while the rest of the kingdom suffers, remember? It probably wasn't fate, prophecy, or divine will. It was a wizard whispering in the king's ear and sliding a fat sack of gold under the throne. And now you know why political lobbying is basically spellcasting for profit. If you'd like me to uncover more cursed systems of our world with wizard logic, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, or else a lobbyist might convince the king to tax crystal balls, and we can't afford that.